Hi there, I'm Tom Harrington. This week on Marketplace, I'm high above Toronto. On the streets below, a scavenger hunt like no other.
Would the police officers carry an AED with them?
Extraordinary contestants.
Searching for these small but mighty machines.
Shock delivered.
They have the power to give life.
Press the button and you went.
3 teams.
Right, you got your fire safety plan, no AED.
With some heart-stopping moments.
You didn't even know what a defibrillator was.
Why are these lifesavers so hard to find?
You're not seeing any signs that one's available.
Not having an AED is a travesty.
You're about to discover why Canada needs a shock to the system. Morning, everybody.
We're at the starting line
I'm going to refer to you as our Marketplace Heart Start Patrollers.
of an amazing hunt.
And you're going to be looking for these defibrillators that are publicly accessible.
They're also known as automated external defibrillators, AEDs. Finding them in an emergency can mean the difference between life and death.
Team Red, Andrew and Laurie, wear them with pride.
Andrew Rossbrook and Laurie McCann are Toronto police officers. Laurie saved Andrew's life with an AED.
I couldn't imagine him not being here, and without that AED, he wouldn't be here.
It's the type of life-changing moment all our contestants share.
Team Green,
I was at the right spot at the right time at the right location.
Michelle Amar was there the day Gavin Heilbronn went down.
You just jump into action and you don't really have to think about what you're doing.
you notice that? The teams are already working together. Very nice.
Danny Wu owes his life to his former vice principal, Janice Gladstone.
Before this even happened, I didn't know Janice. I just knew her as the principal, ranging the halls, telling people to get to class.
Okay, your instructions?
We're sending each team to areas known for high numbers of cardiac arrests.
You got a couple of hours, so good luck and go get them.
Their goal? To find defibrillators that are accessible to the public and whether they're registered with 911.
I would hope to see AEDs all over the place.
The stakes are enormous. Every year, almost 40,000 Canadians die of sudden cardiac arrest. That's 5 people every hour. Having an AED close by could save thousands.
There's nothing here.
But it's got to be used within minutes of someone collapsing. While our testers hit the streets, I head to St. Mike's Hospital for a crash course in automated external defibrillators.
Hey, Laurie, Tom Harrington.
Hey, Tom. Nice to meet you.
Dr. Laurie Morrison researches ways of improving our chances of surviving cardiac arrests.
So this is a AED,
Those are the pads.
right?
Attach defib pads to patient's bare chest.
Now on the front of the pad, you can see they show you exactly how to put the pads on. See the shiny red button with a lightning bolt? That's the one that's going to deliver the shock. And it'll start to flash, and it'll say, press flashing button. That's it.
Easy to use, but how easy is it to find them? That's what our contestants are trying to find out. 85% of cardiac arrests in Canada happen at work, in homes, and public places.
Let's go in here.
So Team Red checks out an office tower.
This building's massive.
Hundreds of people work here, but no sign of an AED, if any of them need one.
Does the building itself have an AED?
I'm not too sure.
With no clear answer, Andrew and Laurie leave.
Look, it should be right there, is where it should be. Right, you got your fire safety plan, no AED. I'm gonna say it's a no. It's safe to say it's a no.
Cardiac arrests often happen at hotels. So Team Red has a look inside this swanky one. Hundreds of guests stay here every day.
You know if you have an AED here?
That's all we
A
want to know.
defibrillator?
I honestly don't think we do.
She doesn't seem to know. Instead of a sure answer, the best they're offered by staff is an appointment to find out later.
If anybody would know, it would be them.
We do follow up, and there are no AEDs.
Sad, really. Right? You got a massive hotel
Yeah.
with how many guests staying here at one time and somebody collapses and not one person in this building?
Like adding insult to injury for Andrew. It's been only 6 months since his brush with death.
I didn't have any warning signs. I considered myself a healthy person.
Near the finish of the Toronto Marathon, he went into cardiac arrest.
I knew he wasn't breathing and we needed to do something fast. Once the defibrillator was put on and we had to do one shock and he was brought back.
And Andrew drew his first breath.
Like a, and it was just like, wow.
A moment that turned strangers into fast friends.
A bond that can never be broken. It's another one that you can't really put into words, but a good friend and, ironically, a colleague. Who knew, right?
Andrew's heart suffered an electrical malfunction. Basically, it blew a fuse.
What is happening to the heart in cardiac arrest?
The heart is stopped. Sometimes the heart is shaking, like shake, rattle, and roll, but most of the time it's stopped.
Only an AED can restart it, but it's a critical part of a 3-step process.
So shake them, any response, no response. You start chest compressions, call 911.
So hands like that, right?
Hands like that, the heel right on the sternum, right on the chest, right here.
Right.
Both hands, chest compressions.
And hard, right?
And hard and deep and fast, and go get the AED.
And you don't have much time. If CPR and an AED are used within 5 minutes, chances of survival go up by almost 75%. Imagine that here, where thousands work and shop every day. Team Green goes in with eyes wide open.
We're doing a survey about AEDs, if you have one.
Yep.
And, can we see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
At their first stop, they're finding defibrillators, but only security guards can get to them. At this government building, it's the same story.
And do you know where it is?
Right there.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Down here, yeah.
There's an AED at this office tower, too.
Can we see it? Okay.
Except this one's kept under lock and key. You got it. Gotta ask security if it's even there.
Funny thing is that you're not seeing any signs that one's available.
Luckily for Gavin, access to an AED wasn't an issue.
This is a piece of equipment, the AED, that was used to save my life.
After swimming, he collapsed in the shower. Within 1 minute, Gavin was shocked back to life.
Time really matters. Every second counts in an emergency situation.
Michelle's right. Every minute without that shock, the brain is shutting down. The heart soon after. Back in the financial district, Michelle and Gavin are in for a jolt of reality. No AED on the wall here. Instead, they find it in a first aid kit.
To waste time to someone to find where it is in a bag, in a room, behind something, I mean, that really could make a difference on someone's life.
Across town, things aren't going so well for Team Blue either. At this bank, they're told staff is trained in CPR, but when it comes to an AED, there isn't one. They try another bank.
Boss, better see if they have this one or not. I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also come up short.
Thing is as well, I'm not shocked.
Meantime, Team Red is starting to see red.
Holiday Inn. What about the Holiday Inn?
Nothing here
Harder than I thought.
or here.
I'm not seeing any signs though.
They're told this gym has AEDs.
Do you know where they're located? Don't guess. If you don't, you don't know.
Sure enough, he doesn't.
You're in a huge facility like this with how many students in here on a regular basis? And how many stories do we hear, right, of young people collapsing?
Andrew and Lori can't believe the front desk doesn't know where they are.
Familiar face? How you doing?
I check in on their progress.
We found one. We've been to more than almost a dozen places, if not more.
How do you feel about the fact you're coming up empty so much?
The fact that people say they have them, they don't know where they are. I mean, that is just totally useless.
Frustration is mounting. AEDs aren't marked, can't be reached. Staff don't know where they are, if there's a device at all. Dr. Lori Morrison says we should all be worried.
It's scary, isn't it? People who have cardiac arrest in public settings tend to do better because at least somebody gets down and starts chest compressions, and somebody else calls 911 and somebody else runs and gets the AED. So having a cardiac arrest in a public place and not having an AED is a travesty.
Our Heart Star patrollers are about to discover another travesty.
Do you know if it's registered with 911?
That I couldn't tell you.
When it comes to finding AEDs, you can't always count on 911. Stay tuned. We're on the hunt for defibrillators, AEDs. They can save lives if you can find one. So far, that's been the challenge for our 3 teams.
I'm so tired.
The clock is ticking. It's over an hour into their hunt, and Team Blue hasn't found any. In Toronto's financial district, they head into a shopping concourse. Thousands pass through here daily.
So there's one by Mr. Sub, and according to him, it's fully accessible to the public.
They're told it's got 2 AEDs.
Okay. Food court.
Food court. Where's the food court? Somewhere.
It takes several what could be crucial minutes before they can find one.
Oh, look, Danny, look, look, look.
There we go.
Look. Yay! Manna from heaven. We found one. Ta-da! Our first defibrillator of the day. Tragic, really.
Janice knows the value of an accessible AED.
So this is the actual door that I came in, the route that I took to get you the defibrillator.
While swimming, Danny's heart flatlined. Another teacher hauled him out of the pool. The vice principal used the school's easy-to-reach AED.
The machine said, stand back, assessing. So we had to stop doing the compressions. And then about 5 seconds later, it said, deliver shock. Press the button and you went, the way it actually looks on TV shows.
For Team Blue, this is one of many reunions since their fateful day.
When he walked through the halls and came in, and I just gave him the biggest hug ever. It was the best Christmas present I think I've ever had.
Going through it all again, it almost becomes a little anniversary thing that, the second life starts.
But to save a life, we need some key information. Where's the closest AED, and is it registered so 911 can point the way?
Well, Team Blue's in for a rude awakening. The King Edward Hotel is their next stop.
I'd be surprised if they didn't. Here's hoping.
Right there on the counter, exactly what they're looking for. An AED that's easy to see and reach.
Everything's in order.
Everything's in order.
Is everything in order? If someone goes into cardiac arrest on the sidewalk, 911 can tell you there's an AED inside the hotel, right?
So I was wondering if this defibrillator is registered with 911.
I know it's not.
You heard him. 911 doesn't know the hotel has an AED.
It's not. Okay. Have you considered doing that?
Actually, hearing what the program is all about, definitely something we will consider.
Why is that so vital? For every minute delay in giving that jolt of life, chances of survival decrease by up to 10%. If 911 can tell you there's an AED close by, a life could be saved. Just a few blocks away, Team Green is about to discover that same major flaw. This fitness club has an AED.
Do you know if it's registered with 911?
Nope, this one's not registered either. Across town, success for Team Red. At least, it looks like it.
We wondered if there was one in your facility at all.
I have 3.
Oh, fantastic.
Wow.
This one's clearly marked and easy to reach.
Well, Patrick, you've been wonderful. Thank you so much.
But registered with 911?
It should be legislation.
Dr. Laurie Morrison is appalled that AEDs are falling through this gaping hole in the system.
Of the AEDs that we did find, about half weren't even registered with 911.
Correct. It should be that you can't purchase one of these devices and you can't put it in a building or in a public place without registering. It's like A, B, and C.
Why don't you think that's the case?
I
We're
have
talking
no,
about saving people's lives in a very simple way.
It's just, I don't know.
Turns out, Ontario did have plans to legislate AEDs in public places, like at the Hockey Hall of Fame. Anyone can get their hands on this one.
go score.
They had a good system.
At its unveiling 2 years ago, Don Cherry urged the provincial government to make publicly accessible AEDs mandatory.
I hope Premier McGuinty is watching here. He promised that it would be passed. Let's get it going.
But he didn't. The legislation fell through. And across Canada, there's a patchwork of programs on how and where AEDs are placed. 911 systems aren't consistent. There's no central registry. Even the Paramedic Chiefs of Canada are calling for a national policy making AEDs mandatory in public places. But one province isn't waiting for the feds to step in. We're off to Manitoba, where public access to defibrillators is becoming the law of the land. The legislation includes gyms, community centers, high schools too. I catch up with Health Minister Erin Selby.
Thanks for making the time. Thank you.
This school has a brand new AED.
I can call 911 and say, I'm here at J.H. Bruns School. What can I do to help this person? And they can tell me there's a defibrillator right outside the gym.
It's so simple, she says, any province could make these devices accessible.
It can't be in an office where somebody's going to go home at the end of the day and lock the door. It can't be behind a glass case with a key. It's someplace that anybody can get into it if they need to.
I'm off to Polo Park Mall, Winnipeg's biggest. There are 5 AEDs here.
Aha.
All registered with 911.
Great.
They're easy to spot, easy to reach, and cost on average about $2,000 a pop.
I see a sign. And here we are.
To jumpstart their program, Manitoba's spending almost $1.5 million to get 1,000 defibrillators into public places, including homeless shelters, a well-known place for cardiac arrests. So how do things compare back in Ontario?
You do that as a shelter, right?
Team Red visits this Toronto shelter and finds a stark contrast.
If we ever have collapses and stuff like that?
Yeah, we have tons of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Almost 125 people live here, but there's no AED. As for shopping malls, 50 million people visit the Eaton Centre every year.
There's nothing at the entrances also, right?
But Team Green doesn't see any AEDs.
They want to know if we have defibrillators here. If we have defibrillators here.
Turns out they do have them, and they're registered with 911. But you'd never know it.
Just wondering, do you have one in the mall?
I think we do, but that's insecurity stuff.
Ontario is putting about 3,500 AEDs into places like these.
Okay, well, there it is.
Throughout the province by 2014.
So that works.
Part of Ontario's plan focuses on training. But why? Aren't public AEDs supposed to be easy to use?
Arlene, is it time to come out? Arlene's had a good sleep.
We asked these grade 6 students to put that to the test.
Hey, I need your help. Bring the AED over, open it up and turn it on.
Keep in mind, none of these kids have any training or ever used an AED.
It was straightforward. It told you what to do.
It is safe to touch the patient.
But 15 out of 16 take 3 minutes or less to give a shock of life.
Shock delivered.
Kinda shocking.
The machine even guides you through CPR.
Place your other hand on top of the first.
So if grade 6ers can figure it out, why can't Ontario? Since 2011, almost a quarter of its AED budget has been spent on training. Couldn't that money buy more machines instead? Another 1,000 of them by our estimates.
It's foolproof to use. It's really just adding to the cost of placing the AED, and that would get away from what we're trying to achieve, which is get them out there.
In the case where money's being spent, in your view, should the money be spent more on just getting the devices and getting them out there rather than on training?
Adding the training would just make it even more expensive. It takes no training, no education.
The group running Ontario's program is the Heart and Stroke Foundation, but they won't talk on camera about how they're spending the province's money. And get this, Ontario's Ministry of Health won't talk to us either. So we turn elsewhere for answers. Could the solution be as close as a double-double? We're on a scavenger hunt, searching for these life-saving machines.
Now, you might not know where there's an AED nearby, but you probably know where there's a Tim's, right? Or a Starbucks, or any big coffee chain.
What will our teams find?
have a defibrillator here?
Not a single AED. We ask a statistician to do the math. If all of Toronto's Tim Hortons and Starbucks had an AED, getting one to a person in cardiac arrest increases by 40%. We tell Tim Hortons and Starbucks our results and challenge them to consider putting AEDs in their shops. But they're not ready to commit, at least right now. Back at the CBC, our hunt is at an end.
Hi guys, up here.
After 5 hours and 52 locations, the HeartStart teams have found AEDs in only half, and many aren't accessible. Exactly why Lori says more action is needed.
It's very frustrating, I guess, because this little machine can save somebody's life, right? That's somebody's father, son, brother, mother.
These three fabulous people are only with us because AEDs were available.
Well, this is an issue that's close to the heart for all of you, and I think we've taken a step in that direction, so thanks for being our HeartStart patrollers today. We'll see what happens in the future.
Our scavenger hunt is already having an impact. Remember the ballet school? Security Supervisor Patrick registers its AEDs with 911.
We need to bottle Patrick up. That's what we need to do. Yeah.
The King Edward Hotel registers too. And Andrew? Well, he's on a mission to get one into this shelter. So what can you do, Canada? Join our HeartStart Patrol. Send us your selfie with an AED and tell us where it is. Tweet it, email it, post it. We'll make sure you help deliver a shock to the system.